Today I'm going to share with you the 3 best ways to easily lose belly fat and overall body fat at home. Since there's no way to target the fat burn just from our belly area, we have to burn fat from our whole body to tap into the fat stores around our midsection. And although exercise can increase the amount of calories that we burn and help us burn a little more fat, the main driver of fat loss is going to be diet. So I want to give you guys the best 3 diet approaches to easily burn fat fast. As you burn fat from your whole body, you'll definitely notice a difference around your waist. And like I said, these diet approaches are very effective for seeing results within just a few days. To effectively burn fat, we can't just concentrate on calories in and calories out. Insulin is a fat storage hormone, and it's directly linked to fat loss. If you want to burn fat, the fastest way to do it is by controlling and lowering your insulin levels. Insulin is released to control your blood sugar by shuttling glucose into your muscles and into your liver to be used for energy. When your insulin levels are high, your body cannot burn fat. In fact, it has no need to burn fat because your body can get plenty of energy from the glucose that's in your bloodstream that triggered the insulin to be released to begin with. The worst part is that not only does insulin block fat loss, but it also causes the body to store excess glucose as fat. However, all hope is not lost. You have another hormone known as glucagon that pretty much has the inverse function of insulin. After depleting stored glucose from your muscles and from your liver, your blood sugar will begin to drop. When your blood sugar drops too low, glucagon can actually raise your blood sugar by converting glycerol in your fat cells into glucose for fuel. Glucagon also signals the fat cells to release free fatty acids in a process known as lipolysis. To put it simply, glucagon signals the body to release stored fat to be used as fuel. There are many studies that compare the effects of these 2 hormones, insulin and glucagon. But my favorite is one of the simplest, where a group of researchers studied the effects of these 2 hormones on rats. The study was published in the Journal of Comparative and Physiological Psychology. In this study, half of the rats were injected with insulin and the other half were injected with glucagon. The rats that received the insulin gained body fat and ate more. The rats that received the glucagon lost body fat. Now, nobody's going to be injecting you with glucagon, but there are ways that you could naturally lower your insulin levels and increase your glucagon levels through diet. And these 3 diets that I'm about to go over today do exactly that in the most effective way. Now, as long as your blood sugar is available, your body will preferentially burn that for fuel over fat. So, what is the best way to lower blood sugar in the shortest amount of time? The answer is our first diet method that we're going to go over today, and that's fasting. There is no better way to lower insulin levels and lower blood sugar levels than not eating at all. Now, I'm not advocating for you to starve yourself because that usually leads to a binge, which leads to a very high spike in blood sugar and insulin, storing any kind of fat that you might have lost in the process, if not more. But I do highly recommend that you try a couple simple fasting approaches, such as intermittent fasting, which involves a 16-hour fast followed by an 8-hour feeding window. A little more of an advanced version would be a 20-hour fast followed by a 4-hour feeding period. This is typically referred to as the warrior diet. And even more advanced than that would be the 1 meal a day diet, where you would fast for the entire day and only eat 1 meal. After that comes your longer duration fast, where you don't eat anything for 2 to 7 days. Although I don't recommend these for beginners, fasting for longer duration is scientifically proven to be the most effective way to lower blood sugar and insulin levels while simultaneously increasing glucagon levels. Meaning, there is no other diet approach out there that will lower your insulin and burn fat quite as much as not eating. And this makes perfect sense because even protein can be converted into glucose and can spike your insulin. But if you eat nothing at all, the only thing that your body has to work off of for energy after already depleting your liver and your muscles of glycogen is stored energy in the form of fat. Again, don't worry if you're not willing to not eat for 7 days. That's something that I only recommend to people that have a lot of experience with fasting. You can receive similar benefits with a simple intermittent fasting approach. Just be sensible during your 8-hour feeding window. But moving on, the second best diet approach to lowering insulin is the ketogenic diet. With the ketogenic diet, your insulin levels are kept low because the majority of your diet is coming from fat. Usually 75% of your diet will be fat, less than 20% will be protein, and only 5% will typically be carbs. A moderate protein, low carb, high fat diet like this does a very good job at keeping blood sugar low and limiting the amount of glycogen that your body has available to be used for energy. Over time, your body becomes more efficient at using fat for energy instead of carbs. Your liver will start breaking down fat cells into fatty acids and ketones to be used as energy. This type of dieting usually only allows for roughly 25 to 50 grams of carbs to be consumed per day. So it's very important to eat enough fat to supply your body with fuel. And even though eating fat sounds easy, this can prove more challenging than what it sounds like. So I want to give you one more type of dieting that can also work very well to lower insulin and raise glucagon levels to burn fat faster: carb cycling. Carb cycling is actually the first dieting approach that I started with when I decided to take getting lean seriously. It's one of the easier approaches of the three because it allows you to limit the amount of carbohydrates that you have in your diet without getting rid of them altogether. With carb cycling, you'll actually have days where you can eat more carbohydrates and replenish your glycogen stores. For that reason, carb cycling won't drop insulin levels as low as a long-term fast or as low as the keto diet, but carb cycling definitely works, especially if you're also weight training. Lifting weights will burn through most of the glycogen that you get on your high carb days, allowing your body to constantly use fat for fuel. A carb cycling diet is not set in stone. What I mean is that there isn't any one way to do it, but typically you'll have a high carb, a moderate carb, and a low carb day. And you'll cycle between the three. So Monday you may have 200 grams of carbs, Tuesday you might have 100 grams of carbs, and then Wednesday you would have under 50 grams of carbs, and then repeat the whole cycle. Another super simple carb cycling approach is just switching between a high carb day and a no carb day. So one day you can have, for example, 200 grams of carbs, and on the other day you would have as close as you can get to 0 grams. Then repeat back and forth. It's important to note that I'm just throwing out numbers like 200 grams out there. So for you, it may be less or it could be more. Luckily, I have a calorie calculator linked up below in the description that can calculate exactly how much you personally need. And one more thing before I go. There are other ways that you could burn fat outside of just these three diet approaches. You can even burn fat on a very high carb diet, although you will have to lower your protein intake to compensate. The reason why I chose these three diets is because regardless of who you are, you'll probably burn fat the fastest with one of these three as long as they're done correctly. Again, the reason is because you're not only decreasing calories, but you're also causing your body to decrease insulin, which is the fat storage hormone, and you're forcing your body to increase glucagon to allow for fat to be used for fuel. That's it. I really hope this video has helped you out. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And if you still have questions about how to set up the best diet plan to burn some stubborn belly fat, visit my website where we're running a 6-week challenge right now that for a limited time only will wind up being free as long as you stick to the plan. We include a diet plan, a workout plan, and an accountability coach to guide you through the entire process. And the challenge makes you hold yourself accountable by having something to lose. That's a big deal, guys. Most people fail diet plans because when the going gets rough, there's no reason to stick it out. Our challenge is designed to tackle this psychological roadblock that many people face. It shouldn't be information that you're after, it should be incentive. The fact that you have to earn the challenge makes people actually follow through on what they say they're gonna do from day 1 all the way to day 42. The challenge can be found by clicking the link below in the description, or you could just visit my website, www.gravitytransformation.com. See you guys soon.
Pump it.